you so much for joining us on our news desk on QTV. In our headlines, at least 8 people died in 3 districts following an increase in the frequency and intensity of the rains. Police have opened an inquiry file in a matter in which a judge identified as Wilfred Muma, age 58, of the Sili area in Mongo district of Western Province, attempted to commit suicide by throwing himself on the Zambezi River. And now the news in detail. Floods which the country started experiencing in January 2023 following an increase in the frequency and intensity of the rains have caused loss of 8 human lives in 3 districts, namely Sinazongwe, Mshindamo and Lusaka. Parliament has heard. Giving a ministerial statement on the flood situation in the country, Vice President Mutale Nalumango said in total 41 districts across the country have been affected, with the most severe impact experienced in southern, central and some parts of Lusaka, eastern and western provinces. Ms. Nalumango said as of 2nd March 2023, about 373,581 people, representing 62,264 households, have been affected by floods across the country. Mrs. Nalumango says in addition, 1,509,222 livestock have been affected. She said in Southern Province alone, 2,881 cattle have died from tick-borne diseases due to flooded deep tank, and at least 51 from drowning due to raising water levels. Mrs. Nalumango says over 278,863 hectares of crop fields have been adversely affected by the ongoing flooding, while in the water sector, 4 dams have been breached, with 68 at risk of being breached due to their compromised structural integrity. The Vice President revealed that in the road, transport and sectors, a total of 94 road infrastructures, such as roads and crossing bridges, have been damaged or washed away, hindering economic activities and disrupting the normal functioning of the community. Mrs. Nalumango said government, through the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit DMMU, is working closely with other stakeholders and is supporting relief and recovery efforts across the country.
The tropical depression indirectly induced moist and unstable airflow from the northwest, that is Congo air, over the northwestern Copperbelt, northern Luapula, Muchinga, eastern provinces, including the eastern parts of Central Province, which resulted in 2 episodes of moderate rainfall activities. On the other hand, it reduced rainfall activities over western, southern, Lusaka and western parts of Central Province. Currently, northwestern, northern Luapula, Muchinga and eastern provinces are expected to experience isolated thunder showers, while western, southern, Lusaka, central and Copperbelt provinces are expected to experience reduced rainfall activities. The hydrological and meteorological agencies in Zambia, in collaboration with the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, will continue to monitor the situation. The issue timely early warning information for early action through public and private media, community radios, and official social media. I wish to appeal to members of the general public to be on the lookout for this information. Mr. Speaker, let me remind the House that in order to respond effectively to disasters at the local level, local authorities should make use of the 5% disaster component allocated under Constituency Development Fund. This allocation should go towards the provision of relief and humanitarian support to the affected areas in consultation with the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, which are found in all the provinces and in some districts. I therefore wish to urge all members of Parliament to take keen interest in the fund for effective management and mitigation of disasters in their constituencies. I also wish to appeal to members of this House and the general public to join the efforts of this government, led by His Excellency the President, Mr. Hagainde Hichilema, targeted at building community resilience and adaptation to climate-related hazards.
Police have opened an inquiry file in a matter in which a judge identified as Wilfred Muma, age 58, of the Seli area in Mongo district of Western Province, attempted to commit suicide by throwing himself on the Zambezi River. Deputy Police Public Relations Officer Danny Mwale, who has confirmed the development, said Judge Muma is reported to have left his house on March 1st, 2023, around 23 hours, and only communicated with his relatives suicide-like messages, which prompted them to alert police to institute investigations. He said Zambia Police Marine officers who were on site searching around at 8 hours received information that Judge Muma, who was heard calling for help while holding on to the grass for fear of being carried by the current in the Zambezi River, was rescued by a fisherman identified as Sianga Lubinda, age 32, who took him to one of the islands on the Zambezi River. Mr. Mwale says Judge Muma was rushed to Leonika General Hospital, where he is currently receiving medical attention. A total of over 1 million kwacha and 148,743 United States dollars was forfeited to the state in 5 financial and money laundering cases out of the 19 cases which were concluded at the courts in 2022. Giving annual statistics for the Drug Enforcement Commission's Anti-Money Laundering Investigations Unit conducted in 2022, Commission Public Relations Officer Hussein Khan says convictions were secured in 16 cases, one as discontinued, and acquittals were recorded in 2 cases. Mr. Khan says this is out of a total of 66 cases which were closed by arrest, in which 113 people were arrested for various predicate offenses and money laundering. Mr. Khan says in 2022, the Commission actively investigated a total of 1,093 cases countrywide, of which 66 were closed by arrests, 49 closed by other headings, and 17 cases were referred to other law enforcement agencies for further investigations. Mr. Khan says some of the dockets have been processed and the suspects are appearing before the courts of law, which others are still being considered for possible prosecution by the NPA. He says the total amounts involved in cases where arrests have been made are over 347 million kwacha.
In 2022, the unit actively investigated a total of 1,093 cases countrywide. Out of these cases, 66 were closed by arrests, 49 closed under other headings, and 17 cases were referred to other law enforcement agencies for further investigations. In terms of seizures, in 2022, the unit seized various properties reasonably suspected to be proceeds of crime. The property seized include those seized in cases highlighted above and other cases which were investigated in the period under review. So these were cases that were carried over from the previous years.
Government is confident that it will succeed in its quest to produce medicines and medical products locally. Minister of Health Permanent Secretary Technical Services Lakson Kasonka says this is because the European Union and many other stakeholders have shown commitment to supporting the idea. Speaking during the ongoing Zambian European Union Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Forum, Professor Kasonka stressed that it is high time Zambia gets back to its glory days where a number of pharmaceutical products were locally produced. He adds that Zambia has not yet recovered from the cut in drug supply chain as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, hence it resolved to revamp the production of medicines locally.
In a nutshell, we have to get back to production so that we can be able to develop supply chain autonomy for particularly medical hospital sets. we want to have. So yesterday's meeting, reinforced by the head of state, just goes to show how much political will there is from the point of the government to see that that agenda is upscaled and that agenda is realized. We've got enormous goodwill from our partners, the European Union, and this initiative still is open-minded and still receptive to other would-be partners, not only limited to the European Union, but really any other partners from across the world that will be able to buy into what we are, not trying that what we are going to do. So, just taking a few years back, 10, 20 years, you agree with me that as we march on the local manufacturing agenda, we are not trying to reinvent the wheel. We are saying, once upon a time, 2 decades ago, in this country, we used to produce pharmaceutical commodities on our own. If you look, going to Ndora, going to Kitwe, the whole business districts in Ndora was lined up by various companies, including pharmaceutical producing companies. But of course, over the years, for various reasons, which is not part of the scope of my speech now, we resorted to importing.
Speaking at the same event, Zambia Development Agency Director General Albert Halwampa has called for both local and foreign investors to invest in the production of medicines and medical products, as government is ready to offer incentives to them.
And adding to that, you're talking about where we are seated as Zambia, which creates another motivation for manufacturers, pharmaceuticals or other sectors, well situated in southern center of Africa, surrounded by 8 neighboring countries, providing a huge market for those that would like to set up in Zambia, supply to the local market, and also into the international market. So, Chair, to answer that question, for me, I think what is changing is the focus on making sure that our investments are export-oriented. We are moving away from the policies of import substitution because they are more inward-looking. So we are encouraging investors to come and set up, produce for the domestic market as well as export, so that they can compete, so that they can be innovative, so that they can, they should have the hunger for partnerships, hunger for joint ventures, so that they can grow from Zambia and export to the rest of Africa. And we are now talking about the African continental free trade area. And I'm sure that the companies from Europe who have been negotiating B2B ratings, closing deals and transactions, will be very motivated to see that Zambia is well positioned to be the hub for production of drugs and other related items.
A mysterious disease has broken out in Chipangali district of Eastern Province and has since claimed 15 heads of cattle. Chipangali District Council Chairperson Maxwell Nkoma says the disease broke out 7 days ago and is killing at least 2 animals per day, and that 3 wards of Chipangali have so far been affected.
As a council chairman for Chipangali district, I've received a lot of reports from amongst our farmers in the district, particularly from 3 wards, namely Ntope ward, Kasenga and Lunguswe ward, to the effect that in the past 7 days we have lost 15 cattle in various wards, as I have mentioned, from a serious, contagious and yet unknown disease. And to this effect, I wish to call upon the provincial veterinary officer to dispatch officials from the Department of Veterinary to come into the district and help us to identify what disease this is, and also maybe probably emergency vaccines can begin to be vaccinated to the animals in the various parts of the district. But our worry is that at this moment this disease is not yet known, and the farmers are seriously very worried because it keeps spreading like bushfire. By end of today, maybe we'll have a serious number also of being reported that animals have died. So for us, it is a call to the provincial veterinary officer to ensure that they expedite the process of dispatching officials, that they have indicated that they will be dispatching officials from that department into Chipangari to do assessments, but also to do a vaccine program. But going forward, we would also want to appeal that the government does a serious recruitment of veterinary extension officers. These are cornerstone in ensuring that we prevent the diseases in the district. Chipangari is an agricultural district. Most of our farmers are keeping livestock, various types of livestock. But if we do not have veterinary extension officers, it becomes difficult to contain disease or to fight the spread of the disease. So at this juncture, we are very much optimistic because I spoke to the veterinary officer and assured me that before end of the day today, there will be dispatching officials that will come into the districts to ensure that
Luela Secondary School head teacher in Milenge District in Wapula Province, Wilbert Mulenga, has dispelled allegations that there are Satanists at the learning institution who are attacking pupils. Mr. Mulenga stated that the rumors are baseless as no one has any evidence of the said satanic practices. Speaking in an interview with Zenis, Mr. Mulenga said none of the learners alleging to have been attacked by Satanists are able to substantiate their claims. Mr. Mulenga, however, acknowledged that 4 pupils in the recent past had unusual mental attacks which made them faint. Meanwhile, Luela Ward Councillor Derek Chilekwa called on the community to remain calm as management is handling the matter in the best way it can. Mr. Chilekwa revealed that some parents to the affected learners have been trying to cause commotion in the school. He says learners in question are said to have manifested demons, a situation which made their parents think their children are not safe at the learning institution. Minister of Small and Medium Enterprise Development, Elias Muvanga, says government is implementing the skills development and entrepreneurship project supporting women and youth in the country. Mr. Muvanga notes that government is establishing the industrial yards with a purpose to accelerate the development and growth of micro, small and medium enterprises in Zambia. Speaking when he officially commissioned the Chipata Industrial Yard in Eastern Province, the minister says the development of industrial yards was part of government's program and strategy to provide support to MSMEs by facilitating the development of suitable infrastructure to enable the small SMEs conduct their business in a conducive environment. Mr. Mvanga stated that the Chipata Industrial Yard would also serve as a center of excellence to support development of small businesses in the province, thereby contributing to the actualization of Zambia's strategy to promote economic diversification and the creation of more jobs for people. Mr. Mvanga noted that his ministry is working progressively to actualize the objectives of the 8th National Development Plan, which was intended to unlock the country's potential in all sectors of the economy for sustainable and all-inclusive national development by utilizing and adding value to the local resources that Eastern Province was endowed with.
Of small and medium businesses and cooperative across this country, I am very delighted to note that the coming on board of a number of private sector companies, such as Inde Credit Company, to offer solutions to the challenge of access to finance as well as market, especially among our SMEs. This is the meaning of embracing partnership with government. As government, we will ensure that we will continue to enhance the partnerships which clearly are benefits to our SMEs, the importance of partnership with the private sector in the development of the economy cannot be overemphasized, and it is through the partnerships and initiatives such as these that we believe our quest to address the challenges primarily faced by this sector, the SME sector.
We are here to serve the SMEs, and we look for ways to say yes instead of no. Intercredit recently reached a notable milestone of having disbursed over 1 billion kwacha. This we supported more than 400 Zambian SMEs who have in turn created more than 3,000 jobs. As part of our commitment to be a business enabler, we're now working to reach micro businesses as well through our partnership with Farm Depot. Smaller loans, easier access, fewer requirements.
I can say I've benefited a lot from Intercredit in the sense that when I was starting up my business, I didn't have a source for the funds to run my contract that I'm running now. Inde came in and...
Welcome back. Still in our news, Petroleum Transporters Association of Zambia has revealed that there is a number of petroleum tankers that are registered in Zambia and are not being driven by Zambians. PTAZ Secretary General Benson Tembo says Zambians have been displaced in this business, such that those that got loans are failing to honor their agreements, hence defaulting. He says foreigners who are in Zambia are the ones that have taken up the business, while the actual Zambian citizens who are supposed to benefit are not part of this business.
Form of vices. If you do, you are on your own. This is the New Dawn government. Our coming is to enhance accountability, transparency, and indeed value for money through all government programs, projects, activities. CDF has deliberately been placed under the local authority because they are much more closer to our people. That is how we intend to deliver. So the bulk of the money is coming here. And that money, starting this year, CDF, to a tune of a huge sum of 28.3 million kwacha will be deposited in the account held by Lumezi District Council. And the CS, my sister here, is the controlling officer. It is not the council chairman. It is not the chairman for Constituency Development Committee. It is not the one Development Committee. As government, we have created different structures on how the situation is like. We have this document, which we must all familiarize ourselves with.
To end the news, we join DW with a roundup of international news.
Ukrainian forces say that the situation in the eastern city of Bakhmut is extremely tense as Russian troops step up their assault. They say Russia is trying to cut Ukrainian supply lines to the city and force them to surrender or withdraw. Now, the fiercely contested area has become a symbol of Ukrainian resistance.
Russia's relentless attacks on Bakhmut have reduced the city to rubble. There are few signs of life on the ground, and from above, the scale of the damage is overwhelming. Now Moscow has further intensified its shelling. Ukrainian soldiers are fighting back as hard as they can.
We are hitting them with whatever we have. We are holding on against their infantry. They are not sparing people. The whole area is filled with their dead bodies.
Russian troops have for months tried to capture the city. and both sides have suffered high casualties.
My medics work practically non-stop. Before the full-scale invasion, we had 50 to 60 wounded in a